your pockets there. Major League Baseball, again, as I said, is going to take center stage for 3 games that already finished up. Rotate 9-15, 9-16. That was Detroit and Cleveland. The winning just doesn't stop for Cleveland. The 21st straight victory, which is absolutely amazing. 70%. The Mets came in on Cleveland. No surprise here. I mean, we're bowling just, don't the good times end a 5-3 victory. Line closed here at 350. Pinnacle looks like it closed at 305 dimes, 330 at Sportbook. So a heavy favorite. And again, Clevenger was on the Bluebird. It's not Kershaw. It's not Max Scherzer out there. You're getting unbelievable Cleveland. They are steamrolling down the stretch, and it looks like obviously 5-3 final there ended at 8. Did not touch that 9.5. Chris opened at actually was bet up to 10. So some of that late money coming in, they pushed towards the did not end up. Second game on the docket today, 9-17, 9-18. Another 5-3 finish. Chicago White Sox upend the Kansas City Royals. Looks like about 5,500 tickets were tracked in that one, over under closing. So that also stayed under the number. But the city closed as a decent favorite here, about $1.50 or higher. Most outlets had 151 there at Pinnacle. Looks like Sportsbook.com closed at 150. The Greek also 150. Bet US closing at minus 153. So a solid dog if you did have the road here with the Chicago White Sox. Another game that finished in New York. Another one of those interesting series. Took the mound. They played at Citi Field, even though as a Tampa home this one. 3-2 final there by the New York Yankees. Nice victory for the opening line on total closed at it opened at 8.5, 7.5 across the board. And that easily stayed under the number 3-2. But Archer was a favorite. Opened up at Pinnacle. Looks like maybe 116, grew up to 128, 27, 596 at Sportsbook. So a nice victory by the New York Yankees as they head in a closing stretch to a playoff spot. So those are games that were a little bit early. We do have a decent night slate here I'm going to go over. So I would like to be my guest today, Jordan from @DrewMartin. Of course, you see him on Mythology and also of the Round every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. Also at SportsPicks and Sports.com. Drew, welcome in the show.
Hey Donnie, thanks for having me on, bro. And congrats with this show. I know it's just starting off, but getting good reviews. So congrats to that. And also, you're bringing up Marketology, college football full. So that show, or my main product is doing for all the watchers. And what you were saying about the Cleveland Indians, Donnie, it just came. We got 21 game win week. Something I remember talking about on the round table. Cleveland loses a game. Are you going to fade him the next day?
Yeah, I had to get into it because there has to be a lull. It's the same way like the Dodgers have lost so many games. You can't anticipate. I talked about this with Gabe. It's like 21 in a row. Let's just run it to 25 and take a loss. There has to be a letdown at that point. You don't. What I'm saying here, Drew, is anticipate them winning losing a game and then winning another 15 in a row. So I agree. There's probably setting down the stretch on at least maybe playing 100 ball, and they're going to be favorites minus 175 or higher each one of those times. So you're right. There might be some added advantage of betting it down the stretch once this long streak point by you.
The philosophy also being, the manager, Francona, he's probably kind of pushing the limit, wanting the streak to keep going. And then as soon as they lose, I'm sure everybody he was thinking about giving off gets that day off.
No, right about it. Because again, they're well in hand. They're going to head into the playoffs. Good baseball team, just trying to get right, keep everything stretched. You're right. So if you're going to expand rosters, might as well use them there because they're going to be in the playoffs. Keep everybody to this point. I think it's kind of interesting because you usually would be position trying to put your starting pitchers, but you're doing something still right now, which you want to continue to do to ride it the rails. Because in fact, even like the Patriots, if you get the football, when they're stretch and they're 4-0, hoping perfect season, they already have everything up. Typically, if you had loss, you rest everybody. You're going to keep on pushing on going. You want to win game 15, game 16, head in the playoffs 16 for a perfect 0 Super Bowl victory. The same ride. Nobody's going to take the death. Terry Connor's not come out and say, well, what? It's all fine and good history, but it's more important to head into the playoffs. He's not going to do that because this is historical. It's an interesting thing coming down the stretch because do you also, Drew, take the angle and say, I hope we don't have a streak of 40 games heading into the playoffs because then you're talking about an unbelievable amount of pressure. Not to say they're going to get the 40 games, but something of that where you'd say, you know what? It's better off if we lose now. That way we can still get everybody healthy. We can run into the playoffs. But I think they want to run off a couple more wins here. I think the total, Drew, maybe 26 is the the all-time record. I know they already have the American League record at this point.
Yeah, so I would take the under. I wonder if there's a bet out there. I'm sure like Bet Online or 5 down something out there. I'm going to go check. Actually, take the under. Which side you say you?
The under in what?
26.
Oh yeah. I would take the. I mean, what do they have? 21 now. They have to lose in the next 5 games. I mean, if they win once or more, I would take the under in that one. Towards the over, or the under in that. It's an interesting one.
Oh, the under. I definitely there.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. Again, I'm rooting for it. It's fun to watch each and every day. I mean, Cleveland, back in the when they closed sell-ups at Jacobs Field, what we call back then, I know it's progressive now, but there's fans turning out. One of those day games today, kids are back at school, It's not, one of those where you would have maybe the building filled. The people are coming out in that historic stuff, and it's a lot of fun around standing ovations, seventh inning after. Really look at history and have a lot of fun with it. So where it ends up, I don't know, but hey, I would love to see them run up about 25, 26, 27. Anything more than that is actually, it's insane to actually talk about a baseball game. Not enough just to sweep a 3-game series, but they're continuing to take people left and right. And we talked about it earlier on the round. I believe Jeff brought that up. Kansas City is coming down. Not exactly the hottest team in the league. It's not going up against Houston. Somebody at your play, the New York Yankees or the Boston Red Sox can legitimately beat. You might be able to pound these wins here.
Absolutely, I'm in full agreement, and yeah, we got a full baseball card. The Cleveland Indians story is just I'll probably be looking against them more than bet on them.
No, I would agree with you. Let's get right into the baseball card. After that, we'll dip into a little NFL action on Thursday. We'll go over that. And Drew, all games picked out. We're going to take a look at a 4-pack weekend does hit. Let's start with 9:01, 9:02 to be Atlanta and Washington go hard the lefty on the mound versus Max Scherzer. About 40 tickets have been tracked in this one. A ridiculous number. I mean, Pinnacle's a number here, Drew, at minus 340. Pinnacle down to 3. Chris opened up minus 340. That's down to 10. 5 dimes, 350. Sportsbook.com, 30. The Greeks got it at minus 300. And can you really blame? And you have an ace on the mound in his first start there. He's got a whip of 2, putting people on base. 4 innings pitched, 6 runs going up against Max Scherzer. Has he absolutely laid out over the last 3 starts? Always giving up some runs versus Philadelphia. 6 innings and 4 earned runs. Before that, back-to-back with 1 earned run. I don't know if there's any value either way on this. Do you want to take minus 1 with Washington? You're going to look at taking the over 8.5. Washington should be able to go hard. There's no question. But how motivated is Atlanta to come up here? I know from just an athletic perspective, it's not going to the playoffs. Your motivation in the ballpark is like, God damn it, we got to face Max Scherzer. I mean, maybe we hit him a little bit, maybe we don't, but let's just hear and hope for on a day. I don't see Atlanta being in this game. I think they're going to be able to cruise Washington Nationals. I don't know about the over-under, even though it was bet from 8.5. I don't have much of a feel on that. Any in on this one, Drew, that you might be looking at saying, again, it's hard. Look at the lines. Damn near through at this point. Anything you might be chewing on?
You bring up some good points, and yeah, when I first glanced at this game, I'm thinking this is an absolute shit show. Just, regular Nationals Braves game. You mentioned September kind of sucks, but when you Scherzer's going back to back young. That's pretty amazing in itself. He's having a great year, 1 whip. The Braves lineup, I think, dominate. And on the other side, the prospect, I know his numbers aren't good at MLB level, but something I've noticed in the past MLB betting is guys that kind of get blown up beyond. They're high prospect. He seems to be. Everything I'm reading on him is plus fastball, plus slider, coming flat. It may be a first 5 under look, Donnie. That might be something I look, because I don't think the Braves get to Scherzer. And on the other side, if this kid can get it going together with a high prospect, plus fastball, plus slider lineup, maybe just 2 times through, it could be an under look in the first 5 innings.
Yeah, money line ticket number in the 76% backing the home team here, Washington Nationals. So even with that monster line, people are still filtering in. You know what? Washington going to be an easy victor. Maybe minus 1.5 in this situation into a parlay, but I don't Atlanta overall get much of an effort tonight. Because you're going up against a pitcher. How much do you really want it in? Somebody may be asking for a night off, or hey, in and out. Let me just see him one time. But I think it's going to be an E by Washington tonight. No surprise there. Next on the docket, 9:03, 9:04, Miami and Philly, Australia versus NOLA, 3,300 tickets have been tracked in this one. Interesting, 59%. I think public's leaning to Miami Marlins. How about this, Drew? Open at minus 108 as for the Philadelphia Phillies. Pick them minus 153 now sitting at Pence. Opened up at minus 1, now sitting at minus 143. So you're getting a lot of traction. You're coming in on Philadelphia Phillies. Over under opened up a half is fine. I'm in the Northeast just outside of Philadelphia. Rainy, dreary all day. And one with not going to be a lot of in the ballpark for a super energy type of environment, but not the money. Looks like both public and sharp money in to push that up to minus 153. Last night with the Philadelphia Phillies game, I just said, the 8.5. I'm leaning on 4 to get the 3 covered easily in the over. I'm actually going to backtrack there. A little bit sloppy type of game over under. Now I'll go on game, lean towards that money there with the Philadelphia Phillies, seeing that it's real.
Yeah, this is a really interesting one. I disagree with you on the look, but this time of year, you don't normally see 30-cent line move on a side in MLB, September. So I would definitely respect it as far as sidewise goes. And also, Donnie, I feel pretty reluctant to say, how about that game last night? And what about a nice game? I mean, we know Stanton put him out at home plate on that swing tag. That was a great play. And then we ended up going, 6 or 7 more innings. It was an exciting game, to say the least. Probably the bullpens. That actually might have something to do with this line. Opening odds makers missed out on a bunch of bullpen working. But I don't know. I would leave that to you as far as the reason
Yeah,
for the
both
price
both
move.
bullpens here are really, really poor. But I mean, interesting game from Stanton last night. I always like to knock his, defensive prowess, so to speak, there in right. But he had 3 assists last, one at second, one at third, and one at home plate. So very impressive for Stanton. Not made at the plate, but certainly in the field. And let's pass up on Rhys Hoskins. Another 2-home-run night here in Philadelphia. The natural has come. He's finally been brought up. So it's going to be interesting to see as he goes down the stretch the rest of September and can he do it again, starting hopefully out of spring training in April next year. So you have to watch some prospects from a Philadelphia angle. But in this, I would lean towards the Phillies. In this one, I'm going to keep under 9. Next up on the docket, 9:05.6. That's going to be versus Leicester in the city of the Windy City. 68% of the tickets backing the Chicago Cubs and open as a strong. This is amazing. I mean, take a couple years ago, Drew, and say, we're going to have Leicester and Harvard. Ooh, looks like it's probably going to be a pick. Maybe Leicester is 125. Leicester is minus 300 tonight versus Matt Harvey. I know Harvey struggled, came back off the DL, had a rough night, but did bounce back with a decent outing his last time out. And we're not talking about, John Lester being absolutely on fire here. His last start was good against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's a terrible hitting baseball team at this time. 1 earned run. The start before that, after a little bit of a DL stint, was 5 innings and 4 earned runs. This is just a ludicrous line. And just out of principle here, Drew, I'm going to take the New York Mets. And let's see if we can get them out here at sportsbook.com plus 255, the Greek at plus 260, and BetUS at 240. So getting almost $2.50 back. I'll take the Mets again here.
Going with the Metropolitans, huh? I mean, you're getting the big plus number. It's just the fact that the Mets are they're down, depending on how you look at it, over 25 units this year. So a team that's probably, to use your philosophy, not commanding much money from the betting markets. If you've been betting the Mets, you're probably out of a bankroll by now. So might be a good time to step in, and I'm definitely not laying from $3. So the Metropolitans are fat on it.
Yeah, no, that's an agreed out of principle. I'm going to go with the Mets. I don't even like their lineup. I don't like their baseball team. I don't even like Matt Harvey. The fact that you're just going to lay a massive number like that, I'm just out of principle. Pocket 907, 908. When you go Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. Glass now versus Anderson, 20 tickets. Haven't tracked that one. No surprise here. Also, 69% of those tickets going towards the Milwaukee Brewers at this point. Minus 160 opens up. Pin at 156. Chris at minus 166. Dimes at 160. Pittsburgh, I just don't trust. Out of principle, I don't like to bet. Typically, it's getting, 69, 75% of it's here. I'm going to lean on Milwaukee in this one. We'll lay with minus 56. Don't have that total over under, but since it's the Pittsburgh Pirates, I'll lean in this instance. Any thoughts here, Drew, with the Milwaukee Brewers and the Pittsburgh Pirates here?
I mean, Glasnow's a guy who was on early this season. The truth, I got won much with him. I lost more than I won for sure. Great point with the percentage-wise of in this number where it's at. If you not want to bet Pittsburgh, you also want to circle back to what you were saying about 5 New York Mets. I don't like Mets. I like the pitcher, and I don't like Harvey. I'm gonna bet him tonight, man. That was good.
Enough. I mean, I agree. Sometimes you just have to take a line at number is and what you're betting into value. So I agree. But this one back in the Pittsburgh game, I mean, Glasnow is just coming back. His last start was on the 9th of June where he got lit up, 4 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. We'll see what he has tonight to come back here. But again, Pittsburgh to me, just one of those dead teams. Doesn't really hit too well. Not really motivated to get any wins. I think Milwaukee's going to be the play here in this one. So I'm going to lean on taking this game. So staying as under the total. Bet up from 8.5 to 9. Sit on that here as well. On the docket here, 9-9 Cincinnati, and so is Maley's on the flare. 2 young kids on the mound. 22% of the tickets currently coming in on Louis Cardinals. Line opened up at -3, but going backwards a little bit to -147, -145 at Chris, -6 at 5 dimes. So some interesting line peeling back. Actually, you know what? We'll go over them there. 150 at 5 dimes, 50 sportsbook. So a little bit. Of that movement that you like again with 72%. Not much on these 2 young kids. If we take a look at their starts this year, through 3 starts, Manley's been decent, 3.60 overall ERA. Flaherty, 2 starts. He does have a 6 ERA. Did tame it down a little bit. First start, 4 innings, 5 earned runs. Second there versus the Diego Padres, 5 innings, 3 hit, 1 earned run. So better in that instance. We're just going to lean on a team. Cincinnati at home, I do like to back them decently, but Flaherty, St. Louis still has to win. Why not go -147, keep it under $1.50? Don't have much of a feel on that overall total. Anything on this game here, Drew?
I kind of the exact opposite in terms of what I'm looking at getting as far as sidewise. I don't have much of an opinion. See this lined at 9, and with Flaherty's issues, at least numbers wise, I would actually lean towards the over in this one, Donnie.
Interesting there. Yeah, no, you never really know what you're going to get out of a lineup there from St. Louis. We've seen it in the season, 12, 13 runs. I bet against St. Louis and got, a 13, 14 spot hung on my head. But we'll see what comes out there with that lineup. It's not really a power-hitting lineup where, Matt Carpenter, I don't even know who leads the team in home runs anymore, but I know Carpenter had about 20 from the leadoff spot. It's always kind of interesting when you see the leadoff guy basically as your power guy. But we'll see what goes down I'll lean on, again, just going against Cincinnati, just a ball club that doesn't have much to play for, rudderless at this point. Who knows who's actually going to come in from the bullpen? So I'll just lean on St. Louis. We'll see what happens here. Next up, 9-11, 9-12, Colorado and Arizona. Marquez versus Corbin. 3,000 tickets have been tracked here. Almost a 50-50 ticket split, which is nice to see. Pinnacle opened up at 153, now down to 142. Chris opened up at 155, now down to 145. Colorado coming into this game hot. It's no surprise. Two division rivals here. We'll see what's going to happen in this matchup. Marquez, their last start, 4 innings, 4 earned runs. Before that, 6 innings, 4 earned runs. Certainly not coming in as a hot pitcher. But then again, overall, neither is Corbin as well. 4 innings and 8 earned runs. Colorado, give me the runs here, plus 131 at Pinnacle. Over on this one, I'll lean towards the over as well. Both these teams can hit. It's hanging at 9. If we get a 4-4 game, you get at least a push in that one. So I'm going to lean towards the road team and the over here, Drew. How about yourself?
Totals wise, I would definitely go towards the over. I just think Colorado, Arizona in that kind of, hitter's ballpark, I would definitely go towards the over. Sidewise, Marquez against teams that have seen him much, so like NL West teams, I'm not really looking to bet on him. I don't like his profile versus lineups that see him multiple times. So I would probably stay away sidewise, Donnie.
Now, yeah, it's hard. You try to find value where it goes there. I'm just going to take a flyer on the road team. Just they are getting, the hot team. See if they can stay hot at this point. They're going against a good Arizona Diamondbacks team that does play very well at home, but I would lean on the over as well. So I'll take a flyer on the road hot team here with the Colorado Rockies. Next up here at 9-13, 9-14, the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants. Dodgers finally get off the schneid. Yu Darvish coming into the mound here. Not very effective lately, but yet we're going to hang another minus 215, minus 220, minus 230 at BetUS on the number there for the Dodgers. Obviously, the Dodgers are a much better team. Matt Moore, not a very good pitcher. Only 33% of the tickets coming in on the San Francisco Giants in this aspect. I'm going to also lean on the over. I mean, you see it opened up at 7.5. Pinnacle sitting at 7.5. Bovada sitting at 7.5. So I'm going to lean towards the underdog home team here, Giants, getting a nice price at plus 192, and I'll go in the over as well. In Kershaw games, we joked about it. 6.5 was hung again. Take the over. They covered that easily. I'm going to go again here with the over and also take a large home dog here with the San Francisco Giants because Darvish hasn't been that good lately. Let's face it.
No, and this will be his first Dodgers-Giants rivalry. He's going on the road. As far as the over goes, I mean, I hate betting in San Francisco at night, a September game. It's going to be tough to get the ball out of that ballpark. His numbers were okay last week, left with the bases loaded. Keep that in mind. Although, the Dodgers pin and the Giants pin, I might lean to the Dodgers first 5 with this money ticket done.
Yeah, let's say, again, when you're heading down the stretch here, there's going to be a lot of value in these underdogs because technically they're not supposed to win. Nobody cares about them. You just see these power teams like the Dodgers, even though they're really struggling. People saying, well, how long can they struggle for? It's only a matter of time before they win. Well, while they're down, I'm going to keep kicking them while they're down, and we'll stay on that type of wavelength. So I'll take the dog in this one. I'll also take the over here and on the big ticket. We'll see what happens. 9-19, 9-20, Baltimore and Toronto. Gausman and Stroman on the mound here tonight. 56% backing the home team with about 3,100 tickets. Pinnacle opened up this line here, Drew, minus 117, currently sitting at minus 116. Chris a little bit lower at minus 111, 5 dimes at minus 112. So an interesting one here. I'll take the home ace here in Marcus Stroman over Gausman. Showing up on the road, so to speak, Baltimore, much different than what they did at home. But I'm going to lean on getting price on a staff ace versus Gal. I think they can hit them around a little bit. Toronto over in this one at 8.5. I'm going to take the under in this one as well. I think Stroman's going to go 7-8. This one, maybe 2 to 3 earned runs and hold like a 3-2, 4 to 3 type of. So I'm going to lean on taking the here Toronto. So the under in this environment at 8.5.
Yeah, great point on concentrating on the home team. Both of these teams suck on the road. So it's almost like in this series, I would automatically look towards the home team. I like your philosophy taking Stroman as well. And so we both don't agree with him moving as low as minus 9 right now, bet DSI and tops. That is the way I would. What about these first 5, though, Don? Staying away from, in my opinion, the better bullpen of the Orioles.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thought that you might have on that. But again, I'm just going to go against Baltimore where they really don't rake, so to speak, on the road. So even if you do get one of those matchups where Toronto's not hitting and you get a 2-1 game, I still think they pull that out. But I do see your point saying, well, take the ace over the first 5 innings. Don't worry about it. If he throws 91 pitches over the first 5, you're not going to deal with 3 or full bullpen innings out of Toronto. So I'll still lean full game in this instance. Both of these guys coming in relatively decent. I know Stroman got on his last game, but overall 15 starts at home. Stroman, a 2. 2.76 ERA. And Gaussman coming into this, with an ERA still 5 on the season, his last 3 starts, Drew, averaging about 2.70 ERA. So I think runs might be a little bit harder to come by. I'm looking for a 4-3 game. I think Toronto can pull this one out here.
Yeah, I agree. I like that side as well. I would more towards the first 5, but yeah, we're in agreement on this.
Mm-hmm. No question. Let's keep it going down the list here. 923, 920. Boston Cotton versus Pfister. 5,600 tickets have been tracked. Overwhelming support here for the Boston Red Sox. 80% are backing Doug Pfister. Line opened up ahead, -195. Peeled back, -174. Chris at 95 dimes at 178. So you're going to pay a premium tonight if you do want Boston. But catch this, man. This couple starts for Doug Pfister, awesome. If we put his last games under a microscope, 1.1 ERA and a whip under 1. That's fantastic. Just fading down the stretch. Young kid trying to make it through the season. You can almost equate it with rookie wall, I guess, or, the wall where you're not used to playing. If it's college baseball, you're playing 30 games, 35 games. You go to the NBA, play 8. Now we're heading down the back stretch. Cotton's had 22 starts getting lit up. Last 3 starts combined, a 7.20 ERA. Albeit it's a really, really number here. I'll take the -170 on Boston at home. Pfister's been hot. Boston this game. We all know Oakland doesn't play so well on the road. Over under in this, sitting at 9 or opened at 9.5 up to half. I'll fade that as well. I'll go under till this game ends. Going to end up somewhere around 6-2, 6-3 with a Boston under, Drew.
Yeah, I like the Boston winning ticket that you said. Also interesting to see. Well, what you saw, Cotton, I am totally bored with that. I'm also interested in why teams don't shut these guys down. Like, he's obviously a young guy, could have a bright future. Instead of sitting here, he probably doesn't like it with his numbers going through the roof. And also, it can't be good for the young guy's arm. But Donnie, one thing I wanted to bring up, look at Penny hanging -174. It looks like we also got -190 at Bookmaker. I think it's kind of rare you see a 16-cent difference at this time of day between those two books.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It's all a matter of who's hitting the line, who's hitting the numbers, those certain books. I mean, they do like to balance it out a bit. So if maybe a sharp guy is hitting up the one sports book and not the other one, they're going to leave it a little bit higher with exposure. But I agree. It is kind of interesting. They usually like to line up within about, 10 cents of each other. So a little bit different to see that a lot higher. I do agree with you on that point.
But other than that, I would just go Boston for me, Donnie.
Yeah, no question. Let's go over one more game here on the docket, because we could talk about Mike Leake and Martin Perez and Seattle and Texas team much, or San Diego and Minnesota with Lamet and Santana. But there is one more decent game here on the docket, which last night one of the ones I did like here was Houston. Houston ended up winning 1-0 with a nice game out of Justin Verlander. I think the opposite's going to happen. I don't mean the actual side itself. So let's go over this. Skaggs on the mound. Both have been absolutely ferocious over the past few starts for each of them. 20 tickets have been tracked. 60% are up with the Houston Astros in this form. Looks like the line is opened up at -100. Get this, 60% of the money on Houston is moving up a little bit here for the Angels at 17, 1 Chris, 116 at 5 dimes, 114 at Sportsbook. We're under, and this one is 8.5. That's going to be the that I like tonight for the closing line. I know the game last night, I think this wake up today, 2 pitchers that you clearly are hittable, not pitching very well in the stretch. I'm going to go over 8.5. This game being somewhere in that range of 6-4 that comfortably. So I'll go with my closing wager and make that the over in Houston, Los Angeles Angels game. Any other feelings on this one here?
I don't have much on it. I would say, the negatives are, Angels Stadium night. Ball kind of goes to die. It's that marine layer and all. But Skaggs, I guess the market is going to bet him. And totals wise, it looks like the market is leaning towards your opinion of 8.5. Some shops showing 9. Some sharper books like Chris at 9. So it looks like the market agrees with you, Donnie.
Yeah, no, we'll wrap up that part of the baseball card. Again, it's hump day, it's Wednesday, it's baseball today. We had to get through the ticket. Drew, I think we did some good lifting right there, just struggling our way through Major Baseball, just trying to get to the fall fix here for us. So let's get to some NFL football. Thursday night, back in fact. And again, it's football. You get excited for it. But to me, Drew, the Thursday games typically compared to the weekend games, trash compared to college football Saturday, trash compared to Sunday football, trash compared. But again, makes the NFL a lot of money to put it on. And once again, Drew, we're all ashy this Thursday night game is. Some movement from even earlier today, Drew, that we went over. Chris at 6.5, or sportsbook.com, 6.5. The Greek at 6.5, favoring the Cincinnati Bengals in the Cincinnati over-under in this one, Drew. Remember, we were going over the round table. They say, 38's a low number. South Point in Las Vegas now showing 37.5. Chris showing 37.5. So it must be some sharp movement here coming in, even on the under here, Drew.
Yeah, and since we talked about this on the roundtable, I went and looked at this game. Look anyway, but the under. I mean, these two teams, especially the last 2 times they played, I believe totaled about a little over 20 points, or right around 20 points per contest. So this 37.5 is pretty high. As far as side goes, don't have an opinion, but I would go Donnie.
No, I mean, I'm tending to agree with you there. I went back this afternoon. I really wanted to watch that game. Both Houston Texans, watch it full game, and again, also the Cincinnati Bengals full game. It's hard to do on days, you're doing a couple shows. You have the red zone on. I'm a big Eagles fan, so the Eagles game. I don't get to catch the entire story of those games. And going over both of them today, just watching the Cincinnati offense, I was really dismayed, not at the, blocking of the offensive line or the turnovers itself. It was the decision making that Andy Dalton had out there. It was flat out atrocious. He had the one interception that hit Suggs right in the face, popped straight up in the air. They intercepted it and ran it back to like the 3 or the 4 yard line. Some of those are a little bit bad luck, but I did screenshot and send a couple out on Twitter. It was third down. It's either 3-0 or 0 at the time. Andy Dalton said, it's third down and maybe 6 or 7 from red zone. If there's no there, you don't make it. You live another day. You kick the field, get some points on the board at home. You feel good about yourself. And the overall decision-making by Andy Dalton throughout the game was absolutely atrocious. Going over and watching the Houston Texans side perspective on Sunday, like, God damn, man, Tom Savage, the worst quarterback I've ever seen out there. I can't believe the numbers he's putting up. He didn't even have a chance in that game. When you're hitting your fifth step drop, and the minute you plant your leg on your fifth step, you're getting bombarded. He never even had a shot to succeed. It wasn't even like he was throwing bad passes out there. He was just absolutely under siege for that entire first half. Coming out in the second half, Deshaun Watson goes out there and gives him a little bit of a spark. And if Deshaun Watson wasn't out there, Drew, he's under siege. I mean, that first drive of the third quarter, if Savage was out there, he would have been sacked 3 times on that drive alone. Watson got away with some bad decisions, got some penalties back to, throwing an interception in that third down drive, but a penalty forced it back to end up scoring a touchdown. He did make some decent, and he does like Nuke Hopkins. Again, what young quarterback's not going to throw to an all-pro? But overall decision-making, not only taking the 3 or 4 step drop, he was running around the pocket, improvising a lot. So if we're looking on a total's perspective, I can see both these teams coming out here, Drew, on Thursday night and taking it slow off the bat. Don't make a mistake. A couple first downs. It's okay to punt the under 37. That's line. If you're just betting and saying Houston's on the road, road teams don't win that much on Thursday night. It's a rookie quarterback. I hear you on that. I still would lean towards Cincinnati because I never bet a Thursday night game. I felt just not smart money, but that's 6.5 now. Getting up in that, a little bit ridiculous. Any thoughts on this one here, NFL action?
Man, I kind of agree with you as far as the road Thursday night. I just have no interest on. I would even take it to the next level of, I don't think the NFL should keep the games going. I think Thursday night college, and maybe make like a Tuesday night NFL game, do it in or Mexico City or something. That's what the NFL should do, because this Thursday product isn't the same as the Sunday product. In this game, I would go towards the under sidewise, go to the head. I'd probably lay on team.
Yeah, I would agree. It's always going to be for Thursday, and I told Jeff earlier, we're just going to roll over. I'm just going to bet a unit money line every single game home team. I know it's going to be kind of stiff with the -half, but just to risk one unit. Have some game to be dogs to get that money back, but there's no you can lose. You just money line everything on the home team for the rest of the season. I know everybody's saying, the choppy feed there. Can't do much of that. Sometimes the internet, sometimes down in Costa Rica transmitting back to the United happens here, but hey, it's what we get paid for. The show must go on. If half the people can't hear it, then, hey, we still got to provide it for the other half that can. We'll hopefully clear up these technical glitches on the next one. It is rare that this happens, but, hey, this is live on the air. It's just what happens. And, Drew, we'll fight through it, right, buddy?
Absolutely. That's the only choice we have, man. So let's get into some college football if that's next up.
Amen, man. Let's get in there. Game starting 8 p.m. tomorrow night, so it's going to go it's going to go head up against NFL football. New Mexico State and Boise State rotation 103-104. Spread tickets easily in Boise State's favor, 73%. Line opened up at Pinnacle at 15.5. Did drop to 14.5. Chris, 14.5. It looks like 14.5 pretty much across the board outside of Bovada. Over under opened up here at Chris at 61.5. Now sits at 58.5. So it looks like that number's settling around 59 to 58.5. What can we look forward to in this game, Drew, with New Mexico and Boise State here?
Yeah, just pulling up the CFB odds page right now, Donnie. I just feel like I'm in my comfort zone. 103-104, New Mexico, Boise. I like this matchup. Mountain West. Keep in mind, New Mexico, the Lobos went on the road 2 years ago, went into Boise, came out with an outright win as double-digit dogs. So it's not like they haven't won on the blue turf before. Boise State also quarterback issues. Cozart looks like he's going to be getting a lot of playing time with Rippon questionable. They're not releasing a lot of info if he would play. I don't blame him for that. I think that's good that coaches do that. But keep in mind, Cozart, the transfer from Kansas, he does have a tough time throwing the ball. If you read up on him, things you'll see is he has a strong arm, but something that I bet on is not a strong arm. It's all about accuracy. He can move the ball with his feet. And going against the Lobo defense is not all that. Boise State's defense, in my opinion, is a lot better. But New Mexico, the speed they have on offense, I think can put up some points. So I'm going to be staying away from laying it with Boise. I haven't got there yet with the Lobos, but that's the way I would look, is to put 14, maybe even 15 points by the time of game time, because keep in mind the public will be coming on Boise most likely, so might be able to wait for a better number on the Lobos to go in and keep it close against Boise, Donnie.
Yeah, next up here on the docket, let's just see what we have here. We're going to dip into going at 105, 106. That's going to be UMass and Temple. You know, hometown here, special for us, so to speak, here in Philadelphia. Any thoughts on this game here, Drew? Temple's going to be laying over 2 touchdowns in this one. They haven't exactly showed much less covering, you know, putting up a lot of numbers, much less covering numbers. What do you see out of this aspect here, man?
Temple's a team I haven't had much of a read on. I would leave that towards you and BMOC. I have watched every UMass game so far, and their quarterback play, I think that they do have athletes on the outside to score points. However, their defense just cackle. So when you talk about betting UMass against teams that can get players out in base, I have no interest betting on the Minutemen. I would look towards this 51.5, 52. UMass is not going to be able to stop Temple. I don't know. As far as Temple's scheme, you could maybe speak on it a little bit better than me. I haven't gotten to, my Thursday, Friday, where I can go back and watch games that I missed. There's only so much time in the day on Saturdays to watch college football. So this is something that I will break down Thursday and Friday. And if I think Temple can get out into space with their playmakers, any team that can do that against UMass is an auto bet on for me.
Yeah, no, UMass certainly not, in the athletic department, so to speak, that you would like to see from the years, even back in the Mark Whipple days when they got.
God, I forget his name. I mean, Frohnapple.
I think it was him. Yeah. I mean, they used to move it around, whip it around, but again, they're on some lean times here. No conference affiliation anymore. But Temple, we're just hoping for a victory in this one. I don't know what you would get. These are one of those tough games early season where you don't really know quite what you have in that instance. So we'll keep it moving on there. We'll hope for the best for Temple. But that line's sitting at about 14.5 at this point. Illinois, South Florida, 107 and 108. 38% of the spread tickets coming in on the hometown South Florida Bulls. Reopening down at Raymond James. Everybody's allowed in. I saw them talking about, any first responders, any military, anybody who wants to come to this football game. You're more than welcome to say thank you for taking care of us during the hurricane. And, let's pack the house. Let's take one night off here, take a deep breath, and root on the South Florida Bulls. Line is now 17.5 at Chris. Over under at 56.5. The Big Ten coming to town versus the South Florida Bulls. What do you see here, Drew?
BMOC just sent us a message, but it was funny. 7. I would look for South Florida actually. Minus 17.5 is the way I would look. I don't really have a lot of interest in Illinois. I just think South Florida is the better coach team, the better athletes at the skill positions to put up more points. Even though it's a Power 5 team versus a G5 team, I think that the athletes wise, it's USF is the only way I would look. Total of 56. Weather-wise, I haven't checked it out, but I think Tampa looks to be clear, so that might have something to do with the upward push, and I would agree with that towards the over, Donnie.
Yeah, no, I would agree. One more game here. Arizona, UTEP, 109-110. One of the worst football teams in the country, and UTEP now lost their starting quarterback, so good luck to them in this tilt. 64% of the wagers coming in on the Arizona Wildcats. Line has been bumped up to 23 at Chris here, over under at 58.5. We're not even talking about a really good Arizona football team here, but it just shows you the depths that UTEP is now trying to get out of here, Drew. To me, if I was betting this game, I wouldn't be laying 23 on the road with Arizona, but I don't see any way that UTEP's going to be able to move the ball effectively here. But the question, again, is going to come back. Can Arizona score enough to cover that 3-touchdown margin here?
I don't trust it. I do like it's just going against definitely a bottom 10 team in all of FBS. You could make the argument it's a bottom two team. The only team I would say is definitely worse is Rice, then UTEP.
Mhm.
Sean Kruger, it's amazing that he still has a job. I know he is a UTEP minor. He went there, played offensive line there. It's just the future does not look bright for UTEP. Arizona is the only way I would look. 22.5 now, getting pushed up. I would go on the Wildcats if I was forced to bet this. However, trusting Arizona on the road to cover 3 touchdowns, not something I'm interested in. So totals wise, the way I would look, I think Arizona could. It's definitely going to get there. Is it's just a matter of if UTEP can move the ball enough. I wouldn't be surprised if they could put a touchdown or 2 in, and this thing could get up and over 58.5.
Yeah, no, we'll see what happens here. Well, that'll do it tonight for the closing line, September 13th. The one game I'm going to go with here in Major League Baseball. I'm going to take the over 8.5 in Houston, and I think they'll get at least double-digit runs in this one, so we'll have some fun. I want to thank Drew Martin for joining me tonight. Once again, check him out on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets, also at SBR Sports Picks and SportsbookReview.com. Drew's all over the channel, host of the Roundtable, host of Marketology. You also see him breaking down college football throughout the season with people like my partner in the afternoon, the big man on campus. Tomorrow, Teddy Covers will appear on the program here with me as well. We'll go over some football information, get you ready for the weekend. Check out the latest at SBRodds.com, the latest on social media. Give us a follow at SBR Sports Picks. Also, give us a subscribe on YouTube. From all of us at SportsbookReview.com, good luck on your wagers. And tonight, we hope we helped you beat the closing line. Take care, fellas.